He's 41 years old. It's his 6th World Cup, a record only he and Messi have ever reached. It's almost certainly his last. And it's the one trophy, the only one, that has slipped through his fingers his entire career. Everybody is talking about the send-off, the fairy tale. Ronaldo finally lifting the World Cup. Nobody is talking about the other ending. The one where it's all over in 10 days. Where Cristiano Ronaldo's last ever World Cup ends not in a final, but in the group stage. And here's the part that should scare every Portugal fan watching. In a tournament where 32 of 48 teams go through, it could still happen. Here's exactly how. Let's be clear about what's actually on the line, because it's bigger than one tournament. Ronaldo has won everything. 5 Champions Leagues. The Euros in 2016. 2 Nations Leagues, including last year's beating Spain on penalties in the final. He's Portugal's all-time top scorer with 143 international goals, their most capped player ever at 226. There is nothing left to prove, except this. Portugal have never won a World Cup. They've never even reached the final. Their best finish was 3rd place in 1966, 60 years ago. In 2022, they went out in the quarterfinals to Morocco, and Ronaldo watched a chunk of that tournament from the bench. So this is it. He's 41. There is no next time. Whatever happens in North America this summer is the final word on the one chapter of his career that's still blank. And that's why the group stage isn't just a formality for him. It's the difference between a legend's last dance and a legend going home before the knockouts even start. Now, if you only looked at the rankings, you'd say I'm wasting your time. Because on paper, Portugal cannot go out. They're ranked 5th in the world. They're the reigning Nations League champion. And forget Ronaldo for a second, this might be the deepest squad Portugal have ever taken to a World Cup. Bruno Fernandes pulling the strings. A Paris core of Vitana, João Neves and Nuno Mendes, who just won back-to-back Champions Leagues. Ruben Diaz and Bernardo Silva. Rafael Leo and Pedro Neto out wide. Some people are calling it the best midfield at the entire tournament. And here's the kicker. This is the first 48-team World Cup. 12 groups of 4. The top 2 from every group go through, and then the 8 best third-place teams go through as well. That's 32 of 48 teams into the knockouts. 2/3 of the tournament survives the group stage. So for Portugal, 5th in the world, stacked, reigning Nations League champs to actually be eliminated in this format, they wouldn't just have to be bad, they'd have to collapse. And if you think a team this good is too big to fall, history has a brutal answer for you. Go back to 2002. France were the defending world champions. They'd won the World Cup on home soil and the Euros 2 years later. They were the best team on the planet. They went to that tournament and they went home after 3 games. Bottom of their group, without scoring a single goal. The champions of the world eliminated without 1 goal to their name. Spain were the defending champions. They'd won the previous World Cup and 2 European championships back-to-back, maybe the greatest international side of the modern era. They were beaten 5-1 by the Netherlands in their opening game, lost again to Chile, and were out before the final round of group games had even kicked off. Germany, defending champions again. The most ruthless tournament machine in football. Knocked out in the group stage, beaten by South Korea, finishing dead last in their group. France, Spain, Germany. 3 of the greatest teams ever assembled, all reigning world champions, all sent home in the first round. The group stage does not check your ranking at the door. It does not care that you're 5th in the world or that you've got the best midfield at the tournament. It has buried better teams than this Portugal side, and it will do it again. So let's talk about how a team collapses and why Portugal are more exposed than that number 5 ranking makes them look, because the cracks are there. You just have to be willing to look. Crack number 1, Ronaldo himself. This is the question Portugal can't answer out loud. At 41, is Cristiano Ronaldo a weapon or a passenger? Because here's the trap. He is the captain. He is the icon. He is the reason half the stadium bought a ticket. But if he's no longer the best forward in his own squad, then every minute he plays is a minute Rafael Leo or a sharper striker doesn't. That's the impossible call facing the manager. And managers who get that call wrong don't lose because their team isn't good enough. They lose because the team isn't built right. Loyalty to a legend has knocked good teams out of tournaments before. And look at what that does in real time. Portugal go a goal down in a must-win game. The clock's ticking. Do you take Ronaldo off the all-time leading scorer, your captain, in front of the entire world to throw on fresh legs? Or do you leave him on and pray for one more moment of magic? There is no clean answer. Every option costs you something, and in a tournament decided by the tiniest margins, that 1 second of hesitation is exactly how a game slips away. Crack number 2. The manager. Portugal are coached by Roberto Martinez, and Martinez has a history you need to know about. Before this job, he spent years in charge of Belgium, a golden generation, one of the most talented squads on earth, ranked number 1 in the world for a stretch. They won nothing. And the last World Cup he managed them at, that golden generation went out in the group stage. Sound familiar? A world-class squad, an aging superstar, a manager who's been here before and didn't get it done. That's not a guarantee of disaster, but it is not the profile of a team you'd bet your house on either. Crack number 3, and this is the big one. Colombia. Portugal's group isn't a free pass. Congo are back at a World Cup for the first time since 1974. Uzbekistan are making their debut. Those are winnable, but in a World Cup, winnable and won are not the same word. And then there's the third game. Colombia, ranked 13th in the world, and exactly the kind of opponent built to hurt this Portugal team. James Rodriguez is still one of the most intelligent playmakers in the world, the same player who won the Golden Boot at the 2014 World Cup, and he punishes any team that gives him a yard of space, especially from set pieces. And on the left, you've got Luis Diaz. Relentless, direct, all pace and aggression. The kind of winger who runs straight at attacking fullbacks and forces them to defend instead of attack. And that is the problem. Portugal's fullbacks love to push high up the pitch, it's how this team creates. But leave space in behind against a front line this fast and Colombia will break on you again and again. This isn't DR Congo. This is a team with real tournament pedigree and players who have done it on the biggest stage. That match is in Miami on June 28th. And it is very likely the game that decides who wins the group. If there's one fixture where it all unravels, it's this one. Lose it, slip behind Colombia, and suddenly Portugal aren't cruising in first. They're scrapping for a third-place spot, and a third-place spot only goes through if you're one of the 8 best in the entire tournament. It is not guaranteed. Now the margin's gone. And all of this is happening for a squad carrying real emotional weight this summer, playing in memory of Diogo Jota. Lost far too young last year with a place kept for him in the group. That's a heavy thing to carry into the most pressured month in football. It can lift a team. It can also weigh on one. So here's how the disaster actually unfolds. Not the lazy version. The realistic one. Step 1. Portugal drop points early. Maybe it's a frustrating draw with DR Congo or Uzbekistan, and don't tell me upsets don't happen. Because the defending champions Argentina lost their opener to Saudi Arabia 4 years ago. A packed defense, one sucker punch goal, and suddenly the easy game is a 1-1 draw. Step 2. Now the Colombia game isn't for first place. It's a must-win. The pressure flips entirely onto Portugal. Colombia, free and dangerous, only need a draw. Step 3. James and Luis Diaz do what world-class players do in big games. Portugal chase it, leave space at the back, get caught. They lose. And now Portugal finish 3rd in the group and miss the cut for best third-place teams by a single goal of goal difference. Ronaldo's last World Cup is over. No knockouts. No final. Eliminated before the tournament even gets interesting. A send-off that turns into a funeral. Is it the most likely outcome? Number. But is it a real, live, 10-day away possibility? Absolutely. And almost nobody is talking about it. So let's say it happens. What does it actually mean beyond the heartbreak? 1. The trophy cabinet stays incomplete forever. Ronaldo retires from international football as the most decorated player of his generation with one glaring hole that can never be filled. Not because he wasn't good enough, but because the one trophy that needs a perfect team around you was the one he never got. 2. The GOAT debate. Like it or not, this is where it lives now. Messi has his World Cup. He won it in 2022 and ended the argument for millions of people. If Ronaldo's final shot ends in the group stage, that's the one line his side of the debate can never erase. Messi has the World Cup, Ronaldo doesn't, frozen in stone forever. 3. A golden generation wasted. Forget Ronaldo for a moment. Vitinha, Nuno Mendes, João Neves, Bruno, Leo, these are players at the peak of world football. If this group of talent crashes out in the first round, Portugal don't just lose a tournament. They lose a window. And windows like this don't reopen just because you want them to. And 4. An entire nation's heartbreak. This isn't only Ronaldo's story. Portugal have waited their whole footballing history for a moment like this. They have never been closer, with a squad this complete, than they are right now. To watch it end in the first round, in what everyone agrees is the final chapter, would be a wound that lasts a generation. That's why this scenario matters. A group stage exit wouldn't be a bad week. It would be the defining failure of an era. So my honest verdict? I don't think it happened. I think Portugal grind through, probably top the group or sneak second, and Ronaldo gets his knockout send-off. The squad's too good and the format's too forgiving for a clean elimination. But I don't think it happens is a very different sentence from it can't happen. And the gap between those two is exactly where France died in 2002. Where Spain died in 2014, where Germany died in 2018. It's where great teams with aging legends and the wrong night have always died. Ronaldo's whole career has been about defying the ending everyone expects. This summer, the cruelest ending of all is sitting right there in the group stage, closer than the fairy tale anyone is selling. So I want to know what you think. Drop it in the comments. Does Ronaldo's last World Cup end with the trophy, or does it end in the group stage? Be honest. And if you think Portugal are getting knocked out, tell me which game does it. I break down a scenario like this for every contender at this World Cup, so if you want the next one, subscribe. The analysis just keeps coming. I'll see you in the next one.